When I landed in New York, I was all alone. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was just very naive.
Carol Burnett has always been Hollywood's queen of comedy. But for decades, rumors swirled about a clash she had with a co-star. The truth had remained hidden until now. At 91, she's finally shedding new light on a feud that shook her iconic show. Who could this person be? And what really went wrong? Join us as we unravel the tension that unfolded behind the scenes of The Carol Burnett Show. Discovering a love for entertainment. Carol Creighton Burnett was born into the world on April 26, 1933, in San Antonio, Texas, at Nick's Hospital. She was raised in a family connected to the entertainment industry. Her mother, Ina Louise Creighton, worked as a publicity writer for movie studios, while her father, Joseph Thomas Burnett, managed a movie theater. Though her roots hinted at a life surrounded by film and performance, her early years were far from glamorous. Her family's struggles shaped her childhood in ways that would later influence her career. The late 1930s brought a significant change when her parents separated. Both moved to Hollywood independently, leaving young Carol to be raised by her grandmother. The two of them settled into a tiny one-room apartment near her mother, making ends meet in a modest boarding house. Carol's younger half-sister, Chrissy, later joined them, adding to the hardship they already faced. Their neighborhood in Hollywood was a tough place to grow up, filled with challenges that would later fuel Carol's comedic genius. From an early age, Carol showed a flair for imagination. When she was in second grade, she created an imaginary twin sister named Karen, a mischievous alter ego with dimples like Shirley Temple. She took the act seriously, even going as far as changing outfits and darting in and out of the house, using both the fire escape and the front door to maintain the illusion. Eventually, the effort became exhausting, and Karen simply disappeared. This ability to transform into different characters was a skill that would become her trademark. By the time she was 9, she had discovered something that would stay with her forever: the ability to do the Tarzan yell. What started as a silly talent eventually turned into a vocal exercise that helped her develop powerful projection. Over the years, it became one of her signature sounds, something fans loved to hear. Music also played a role in her upbringing. While they couldn't afford a piano, Carol's grandmother was musically trained, and her mother played the ukulele. Sitting around the kitchen table, they would sing together, harmonizing to popular songs. Movies were another major influence. Her grandmother took her and her sister to the theater frequently, and they would even sneak home a few rolls of toilet paper from the restrooms, a small but necessary act of survival. These experiences shaped her love for film and comedy, later inspiring the sketches on her iconic variety show. As a teenager, she took on a job as an usherette at the Warner Brothers Theater, later known as the Hollywood Pacific Theater. One particular incident stood out during her time there. She had already seen Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train and knew how crucial the ending was to the film's impact. When a couple arrived just minutes before the ending, she tried to save them from ruining the surprise by suggesting they wait for the next showing. They refused, and when her manager saw her preventing them from entering, he fired her on the spot. Years later, when she became famous and was given the opportunity to choose where her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame would be placed, she knew exactly the spot, right in front of the old Warner Brothers Theater. After graduating from Hollywood High School in 1951, Carol received an unexpected gift. An anonymous envelope arrived with $50, covering a year of tuition at UCLA. Initially, she dreamed of becoming a writer and planned to study journalism, but life had other plans. During her first year, she switched to theater arts and English, hoping to become a playwright. However, to enter the program, she was required to take an acting course. She wasn't eager to perform, but she had no choice. Then, something unexpected happened. During her first performance, an impulse took over. Instead of delivering her lines normally, she stretched them out dramatically. The audience laughed, and in that moment, everything changed. A warmth she had never felt before wrapped around her. For a girl who had spent most of her life feeling shy and overlooked, that laughter was transformative. From then on, she knew she wanted to chase that feeling for the rest of her life. Despite her newfound passion, her mother disapproved. She wanted Carol to write, believing that looks didn't matter in writing, but they did in acting. Growing up, Carol was told to behave like a lady, and her playful antics, like crossing her eyes or making funny faces, were discouraged. Her mother never imagined she would go on to become a performer. Many years later, Carol admitted that hearing her mother say, "You can always write, no matter what you look like," deeply hurt her. In 1954, during her junior year at UCLA, an unusual opportunity arose. A professor invited Carol and her classmates to perform at a party in place of a final exam. It was a chance to showcase their talent, but she had no idea that night would change her life. After performing, while sneaking cookies into her purse to bring home to her grandmother, a wealthy older man approached her. He and his wife had watched the show and were impressed, so they decided to ask about her future plans. When Carol mentioned her dream of going to New York to pursue acting but couldn't afford it, the man made an incredible offer. He would lend her and her boyfriend, Don Saroyan, $1,000 each, enough to get them to New York and start their journey. The loan came with 3 conditions. It had to be repaid within 5 years, his identity would remain a secret, and if Carol found success, she had to pass the kindness on to others. The man wasn't connected to the entertainment industry. He had made his fortune in shipbuilding and simply wanted to help young people chase their dreams. Carol took the leap. She and Don left college and moved to New York, stepping into the unknown. That same year, her father passed away, his life cut short by struggles with alcoholism. It was a painful loss, but Carol kept moving forward, holding on to the belief that laughter and performance could shape her future. The road ahead was uncertain, but she had taken the first step toward a career that would make her one of the most beloved figures in television history. The journey towards success. Arriving in New York with dreams of making it big, she spent her first year juggling work as a hat check girl while auditioning tirelessly for acting roles. Living in the rehearsal club, a boarding house for aspiring actresses, she joined forces with the others to create a showcase that could change their lives. On March 3, 1955, the Rehearsal Club Review took the stage, attracting not only agents, but also celebrities like Celeste Holm and Marlene Dietrich. This exposure became a turning point, opening doors for several of the young women seeking a break into the entertainment industry. That same year, she landed a small role on The Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney Show, where she played the girlfriend of a ventriloquist's dummy. Though a minor part, it proved to be a crucial stepping stone, leading to a starring role opposite Buddy Hackett in the short-lived sitcom Stanley from 1956 to 1957. When the show ended, she faced a period of uncertainty, struggling to find her next opportunity. However, she quickly bounced back, capturing attention in New York's vibrant cabaret scene. One performance, a comedic parody song poking fun at then-Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, became a sensation. The routine gained so much attention that it earned her appearances on major television programs, including The Tonight Show and The Ed Sullivan Show. Even Dulles himself acknowledged the act in an interview, further solidifying her growing reputation. During this time, she also became a regular on Pantomime Quiz, one of television's earliest game shows. Just as her career was beginning to pick up momentum, tragedy struck again when her mother passed away on January 10, 1958. In spite of this personal loss, she continued forging ahead. Later that year, she made a breakthrough at the Blue Angel Supper Club in New York City, where she caught the attention of scouts for the Jack Paar Show and the Ed Sullivan Show. These television appearances launched her into the national spotlight, marking the beginning of a remarkable journey. Her first major success came in 1959 with a role in the Broadway musical Once Upon a Mattress. The production earned her a Tony Award nomination and further established her as a star on the rise. That same year, she honored a commitment she had made earlier in her career by repaying the mysterious benefactor who had given her a $1,000 loan. Around this time, she also joined The Gary Moore Show, a variety program where she remained a regular until 1962. Her growing fame led to a collaboration with Julie Andrews on the television special Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall in 1962. The show was an instant success, winning an Emmy Award for Outstanding Program Achievement in the field of music. The chemistry between the two stars was evident, and the special became a cherished moment in television history. At the same time, she made guest appearances on various shows, including a role in an episode of The Twilight Zone titled Cavender is Coming. In 1963, she took on the lead role of Calamity Jane in a stage production in Dallas, which was later televised by CBS. That same year, she made her feature film debut in the comedy Who's Been Sleeping in My Bed, starring alongside Dean Martin and Elizabeth Montgomery. The transition to film was not as smooth as she had hoped, and she later admitted feeling out of place without the energy of a live audience. Still, her career continued to expand in 1964 when she starred in the Broadway musical Fade Out, Fade In. However, her time in the production was cut short due to a neck injury sustained in a taxi accident. Although she attempted to return to the show, she eventually withdrew to focus on a new variety series, The Entertainers, alongside Bob Newhart and Caterina Valente. Unfortunately, the show was short-lived, lasting only one season. Meanwhile, a legal dispute arose with the producers of Fade Out, Fade In, who sued her for breach of contract, blaming her absences for the show's decline. The lawsuit was eventually dropped, allowing her to move forward. During this period, she formed a close friendship with Jim Nabors, the star of the hit television show Gomer Pyle, USMC. Their bond led to recurring guest appearances on his show, where she played a tough yet humorous corporal and later a gunnery sergeant. This friendship would later become a staple of her career, as she invited Nabors to be the first guest on her variety show every season, considering him her good luck charm. In 1959, she formed another friendship with comedy legend Lucille Ball. Their relationship flourished over the years, with each making guest appearances on the other's shows. Ball, who had already earned her status as one of television's most influential figures, became both a mentor and a dear friend. Although there were rumors that Ball offered her a sitcom opportunity, the truth was that CBS executives had pitched a show called Here's Agnes, which she ultimately declined. The two remained close until Ball's passing in 1989. By the mid-1960s, she had firmly established herself as one of the most versatile performers in entertainment. She continued to appear in a variety of television programs, including an episode of the spy comedy series Get Smart in 1966. Each role, whether on stage, screen, or television, added to her growing legacy as an entertainer who could seamlessly blend comedy, music, and heartfelt performances. Her career was only beginning, with even greater heights yet to come. The Carol Burnett Show. In 1967, Carol Burnett found herself at a crossroads. CBS had presented her with an offer for a sitcom titled Here's Agnes, but she had a different vision. Thanks to a clause in her 10-year contract, she had the right to create and host a one-hour variety show if she acted within a set time frame. The network executives were skeptical. At the time, variety shows were seen as a domain dominated by men. But Burnett knew what she wanted, and she exercised her option. With that decision, The Carol Burnett Show was born, making its debut in September of that year. Over time, it became one of television's most beloved programs, earning an impressive 23 Emmy Awards and multiple nominations throughout its run. A talented cast group added to the show's magic. Among them was Tim Conway, initially a guest star before becoming a regular in later seasons, along with Harvey Corman, Lyle Waggoner, and Vicki Lawrence, a teenage discovery Burnett took under her wing. The chemistry among them was strong, contributing to the show's success. CBS had hesitated, but Burnett proved them wrong, demonstrating that a woman could lead a variety show to triumph. Burnett's ability to connect with audiences set her apart. She made history as the first celebrity guest on Sesame Street, appearing on its inaugural episode in 1969. She also made periodic returns to the stage in the 1970s and 1980s, starring alongside Rock Hudson in I Do, I Do, at the Muni Theater in St. Louis in 1974. These moments proved she could thrive in any medium. The Carol Burnett Show was the epitome of variety entertainment, incorporating skits, parodies, and musical numbers that kept audiences laughing week after week. The show cleverly spoofed popular movies, such as Gone with the Wind, which was hilariously transformed into Went with the Wind. Television dramas weren't safe either, with soap operas getting their share of good-natured mockery in sketches like As the Stomach Turns. Advertisements, too, became a source of comedic inspiration, giving the show an edge that kept viewers engaged. One of its most successful segments, The Family, became a fan favorite. This sketch resonated so deeply with audiences that it spun off into its own show, Mama's Family, with Vicki Lawrence in the lead role. Burnett's comedic timing and willingness to throw herself fully into her performances made every moment memorable. At the start of each episode, she engaged directly with the audience in an unscripted question-and-answer session. This spontaneity showcased her quick wit and made viewers feel like they were part of something special. A signature moment of every show was her famous Tarzan yell, which she often performed upon request. And at the end of each episode, she tugged on her left ear, a silent but deeply personal message to her grandmother, letting her know that all was well. Even after her grandmother passed away, Burnett continued the tradition as a heartfelt tribute. After an incredible run, production on the show came to an end in 1978. However, fans weren't ready to say goodbye just yet. CBS produced 4 additional episodes in 1979 under the name Carol Burnett and Company, bringing back most of the original cast, with the exception of Harvey Corman and Lyle Waggoner. In 1977, comedy sketches from the series were compiled into half-hour episodes under the title Carol Burnett and Friends, making the humor accessible to a new generation. The demand for Burnett's comedy continued well into the digital age, with reruns airing on MeTV as recently as 2015. Burnett's career extended beyond television comedy. While The Carol Burnett Show was still on the air, she took on film roles, starring in movies like Pete and Tilly in 1972 and The Front Page in 1974. Her dramatic acts also earned recognition, leading to an Emmy nomination for her performance in Six Arms Revu in 1974. But her greatest triumph was the enduring love people had for her variety show, something no one fully anticipated. The Carol Burnett Show was more than just entertainment. It was an experience that connected generations through laughter. Burnett's boldness in challenging industry norms, her ability to create genuine connections with her audience, and her talent in bringing humor to every aspect of life solidified her place as a television legend. Decades have passed, yet her impact on entertainment remains unmatched. What made her one of the greatest of all time? Carol Burnett's clash with her co-star. Harvey Corman played an essential role in the Carol Burnett Show ensemble. Known for his impeccable comedic timing and ability to transform into a wide variety of characters, he was a favorite among fans. But behind the scenes, things weren't always smooth. Carol Burnett had a well-earned reputation for pushing boundaries in comedy. However, despite her willingness to go the extra mile for humor, she had firm principles about respect and professionalism. She didn't mind if Corman occasionally gave her a hard time, but when his behavior crossed into mistreating guests, she drew the line. One particular incident, which Burnett detailed in her memoir, stood out as a defining moment in their working relationship. It was during season 7, and the guest stars that week were two well-loved figures, Tim Conway and Petula Clark. Conway, though he was not yet a regular cast member at the time, was a frequent guest on the show, while Clark, an accomplished singer and performer, brought her own charm to the stage. Both were known not only for their talent, but also for their kindness and professionalism. However, on that particular day, something was off with Corman. Dressed in an Elvis costume for a skit, Corman was clearly not in his usual jovial spirits. Instead of his usual playful banter, he was scowling and snapping at those around him. His sour mood soon turned into outright rudeness, and he directed it at both Conway and Clark. Burnett, always protective of her guests, couldn't ignore what was happening. She decided to confront him directly. After the rehearsal wrapped up, she marched into Corman's dressing room to get to the bottom of his attitude. Instead of explaining himself, he dismissed her concern, telling her it was none of her business. That was the moment Burnett had to make it clear where she stood. Anything that affected the atmosphere of the show and the well-being of its guests was absolutely her business. Yet, even when she pointed this out, Corman refused to back down. He doubled down, insisting that he could act however he wanted, and that if she didn't like it, he might as well leave the show. As the tension increased, he physically backed her out of his dressing room and shut the door in her face. Burnett stood in the hallway, stunned. Confrontation wasn't her natural inclination, but this time, she couldn't let it slide. She needed to take decisive action. Without hesitation, she picked up the phone and called Corman's agent, delivering a firm message. Harvey Corman's time on the Carol Burnett Show was coming to an end. He would finish that night's show, and after that, he was out. That evening, after the taping wrapped up, Burnett made her way to Corman's dressing room once more. This time, she wasn't there to ask questions or negotiate. She was there to deliver the final verdict. She informed him that she had spoken to his agent, and the decision was made. His behavior had made it impossible for her to do her job properly. If he truly wanted out, then she wouldn't stand in his way. Corman, suddenly faced with the reality of losing his place on the show, hesitated. He didn't want to leave. Instead of arguing, he asked if there was anything he could do to make amends. Burnett didn't hesitate to lay out her terms. Starting the following Monday, she expected him to come in with a cheerful attitude, not just for one day, but for the entire week. More importantly, she made it clear that he was never to be rude to a guest or crew member again. Everyone had bad days, but personal moods couldn't be allowed to disrupt the workplace. For a moment, Corman considered her words. Then, to her relief, he agreed. They shook hands on it, sealing the deal. However, Burnett wasn't sure if he would actually follow through. The answer came quickly. When the elevator doors opened that Monday morning, there stood Harvey Corman. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. Then, with a dramatic flourish, he broke into a smile, skipping and whistling down the hall as if he didn't have a care in the world. Burnett couldn't contain her laughter. His performance was exaggerated, but the message was clear. He had heard her loud and clear, and he was committed to making things right. Corman's transformation didn't go unnoticed. That night, after their conversation, he had reportedly gone across the street to a popular hangout spot where many crew members gathered after work. Standing on top of the bar, he relayed the entire story with theatrical enthusiasm, toasting Burnett in the process. He wasn't bitter. If anything, he seemed to appreciate the push. As a playful reminder of his renewed attitude, Burnett later had a plaque placed on his dressing room door that read, "Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky." Corman remained on the show for 3 more seasons, but eventually he decided to move on. After season 10, he left to star in his own series, a promising opportunity that unfortunately didn't work out. His show was canceled after only 5 episodes. Meanwhile, the Carol Burnett Show pressed forward, bringing in Dick Van Dyke as a replacement. Despite Van Dyke's legendary status in comedy, the fit wasn't quite right. While Corman had the ability to fully transform into any character he played, Van Dyke's portrayals often felt like exactly what they were: Dick Van Dyke in costume. The loss of Corman was significant, but his impact on the show remained. Burnett had demonstrated that even in the world of comedy, respect mattered. It wasn't just about delivering laughs. It was about creating an environment where everyone, from the stars to the guests, felt valued. Harvey Corman didn't learn the secret to great comedy overnight. It took a little tough love to get him there. Personal life and achievements. Carol Burnett's journey through love, loss, and success is a story filled with passion, perseverance, and unforgettable moments. Her personal life, marked by 3 marriages and the joys and challenges of motherhood, contrasts her incredible achievements in entertainment. Her first marriage to Don Saroyan, a college sweetheart, began in 1955. It was a union filled with youthful dreams, but after 7 years, their paths diverged, leading to a divorce in 1962. A new chapter started when she found love again with television producer Joe Hamilton. He was not only a successful producer, but also a father to 8 children from his previous marriage. Their connection deepened over shared experiences in the industry. Hamilton had already worked with Burnett, producing her 1962 Carnegie Hall concert. Their love led to marriage on May 4, 1963, and together they built a life filled with creativity, family, and challenges. The couple welcomed 3 daughters, each with their own artistic and professional pursuits. Their firstborn, Carrie Hamilton, arrived on December 5, 1963. She grew up to be a talented actress and writer, but her life was cut tragically short at the age of 38 due to pneumonia, a complication of lung and brain cancer. Their second daughter, Jodie Hamilton, born in 1967, made her mark as a film producer and later took on the role of executive producer for The Stephanie Miller Show. Their youngest, Erin Hamilton, born in 1968, found her passion in music and pursued a career as a singer. Burnett's experience with motherhood was also touched by sorrow, as she endured a miscarriage in early 1965, losing a baby at 9 weeks. Marriage and family life brought many beautiful moments, but it also presented its challenges. By 1984, Burnett and Hamilton parted ways. One of the greatest struggles they faced was dealing with Carrie's battle with substance addiction. Instead of allowing the pain to consume them, Burnett and Hamilton chose to use their experience to help others. They spoke openly about addiction and supported efforts to raise awareness and funds for treatment centers. Their dedication to helping others even took Burnett and Carey to Moscow in 1988, where they played a role in introducing Alcoholics Anonymous to the Soviet Union. Though the marriage ended, their shared commitment to their children and the cause remained. Hamilton later passed away from cancer in 1991, leaving behind a legacy of creativity and influence. Life brought love once again when Burnett met and later married musician Brian Miller. Their wedding took place on November 24, 2001. Despite the age gap of 23 years, their bond grew strong, bringing stability and companionship into Burnett's life. Throughout her journey, Burnett developed deep friendships with some of the biggest names in entertainment. Lucille Ball, Beverly Sills, Jim Nabors, Julie Andrews, and Betty White were among those closest to her. Nabors held a special place in her life, becoming the godfather to her daughter Jody. Another significant friendship formed with Vicki Lawrence, whom Burnett mentored in acting. Lawrence's admiration for Burnett was evident when she delivered a heartfelt speech during Burnett's 2013 Mark Twain Prize ceremony in Washington, D.C. While her personal life was full of emotional highs and lows, her career soared with remarkable achievements. Burnett earned 20-degree Primetime Emmy nominations and won 6 times for her performances in The Gary Moore Show, Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall, The Carol Burnett Show, Mad About You, and Palm Royale. At the age of 91, she became the oldest nominee for a Primetime Emmy in the Supporting Actress category for her work in Palm Royale, proving her timeless talent. Her trophy collection extended beyond Emmys. She received 18 Golden Globe nominations, securing 7 wins, primarily for The Carol Burnett Show. Her contributions to theater and music earned her 3 Tony Award nominations and 3 Grammy nominations, winning 1 of each. These accolades reflected the depth of her impact across multiple forms of entertainment. Beyond performance awards, Burnett's influence was recognized with some of the highest honors. She received 2 Peabody Awards, a Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Kennedy Center honored her in 2003, and in 2005, she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President George W. Bush. Further recognition came in 2013 with the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. In 2019, her legacy in television was affirmed with the establishment of the Carol Burnett Lifetime Achievement Award, an honor named in tribute to her contributions to the industry. On her 90th birthday, the entertainment world gathered to celebrate her incredible life and career with an NBC variety special, Carol Burnett, 90 Years of Laughter plus Love. Friends and colleagues, including Julie Andrews, Vicki Lawrence, Lily Tomlin, Steve Carell, Amy Poehler, Ellen DeGeneres, Bob Odenkirk, and Cher, joined in to pay tribute. The event was a proof of that Burnett's influence. Her warmth, humor, and dedication to her craft made her one of the most cherished figures in entertainment history. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.